The previous owner was collecting the pieces that fell off, and we were fortunate that, the head of one of the figures, he kept it in a bucket in the basement. Otherwise, we would never have had that piece.
Disassembled into color-coded chunks, some deliberately cut and some worn down by time, restoration was being considered for the massive relief sculpture that had adorned the former Southside Turnverein building for nearly 120 years.
Could it be repaired in place? Could it be taken down, put back together and put back up, or could a reproduction be created? And they determined that the most effective treatment would be to reproduce it, because the corrosion of the metal elements was just impossible to stop, and so much of the historic material would be destroyed to try and fix that we wouldn't have much left.
Enter Ignition Arts on the west side of Indianapolis.
Ignition Arts is a custom fabrication company, predominantly large-scale public work, but we also do art restoration work periodically. Most everyone on the team is got an arts-related degree. Being able to work on a project like this in Indianapolis is really a great opportunity for us.
The first step was to take photographs of it on the building and take field measurements and get as much information as we could before we took it off the building. And setting it back up in the shop, we sculpted it. There was a wire mesh and paper and cardboard, just a whole bunch of different stuff to make the base. And then we coated that whole thing in clay and then sculpted it and refined it, and just using the photos in the rubble.
This building and its art symbolized a once prominent aspect of Indianapolis's past.
The Turner movement started in what's now Germany in the early 19th century, and the idea was develop your body and your mind, so sound body, sound mind, sort of holistic health and education. And German-speaking immigrants who came to the U.S. in the mid-19th century brought this tradition with them, and they developed what we would now call physical education. The building that's now known as the Athenaeum was another Turnverein, and in the 1890s, a group of people living on the south side decided they wanted to break away and build their own clubhouse closer to home.
And the original artist on this piece? Rudolf Schwartz, better known locally as the sculpture behind the Soldiers and Sailors Monument, the centerpiece of Monument Circle in the heart of downtown Indianapolis.
This was a major work of his that had been deteriorating for about 40 years, and there was a lot of concern in the community about what was going to happen to this building and to this artwork.
The building spent some time as the Madison Avenue Athletic Club before becoming home to Point Comfort Underwriters, an Indianapolis-based insurance company that wanted to do right by the building and its history. This lighter reproduction won't pull on the walls as much as the original.
When we started looking at the sculpture, it became clear that it is not made of terracotta. It is reddish like terracotta, but it appears to be made of a cement-based stucco, and they use these iron straps to form sort of the internal skeleton of the figures, and then they appear to have sculpted over the top of that on the side of the building, so it was built in place.
Because of that, the weight of the sculpture was a pretty big surprise to us too. Like each part was very heavy to try to remove and manage and handle throughout the process.
After years of research and months of work, a new, lighter version of Rudolf Schwartz's figures, representing physical wellness and education, took their place in the shadow of I-70 on a building that had survived interstate mapping, demographic shifts, and over a century of rain and wind as it faced west boldly. 21st century craning and equipment made quick work of the installation, complete with the icon of the new millennium's technology, a drone, documenting the process and connecting the city's history.
They really helped to define what Indianapolis became. So it really tells the story of a community that maintained its identity but set down roots in a new place and helped to form the Indianapolis that we know and love.
Joy Hernandez for Great Day TV.